Emotions, they are still running high following yesterday's historic inauguration.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution.
Seeing the first woman and person of color sworn in as Vice President of the United States was just the beginning of a powerful day of ceremonies that really called for the healing of our nation.
Every poem, every prayer, every performance brimmed with hope for the future. So now that the pomp and circumstance is over, the question is, how do we move forward, and how do we move forward united, right? Joining us this morning is therapist and relationship expert, Dr. Argie Allen Wilson. Good morning to you, Dr. Argie. How are you?
Good morning. Good to be here.
Good to have you here. So there are certainly a lot of layers of emotions. We are seeing some of them this morning to peel back from yesterday's ceremony, right? I know you're feeling many of them. So what would you consider to be the most important to acknowledge?
Well, one of the things I say to people is that in order to heal, you have to feel. But you can't heal what you don't reveal. And then once you reveal it, you can begin to deal with what's real. And so yesterday, and even the day before, it began with Joe Biden saying goodbye to his Delaware family and moving to the memorial service at the monument. And there was just a sigh of relief. I believe that people were beginning to feel like they could breathe again or give themselves permission to let go. We've got to be honest, 2020 was pretty hard for all of us. And so in terms of just the feeling that many of us had, it required that we let go of some things so that we could hope again. And so as your piece just talked about, the little girls that are Black and brown that can see the possibility that can become a reality, it just was emotional for all of us. And I think, quite frankly, when we sit down and we talk about everything that we went through, we've all gone through a whole lot of pain, especially with this virus and with all the tension and the racial divide. This was a time for us to come together, and we felt it. There was an emotional connection and a sigh of relief that we could breathe and move on.
I know we were talking in the commercial break about how you were dipping in and out of the coverage yesterday, and there were moments where it just brought tears to your eyes, and you just had to just take a moment to be in that feeling. And you also discussed this collective sigh of relief, not only in the United States, but all over the world. So what needs to happen to make sure that this country moves forward in a positive direction? Because it's one thing to talk about our feelings and have this hope. It's another to do the real hard work to get there.
Yeah, and as I often say, I have a book, Courageous Conversations Connect, and it talks about us being the change that we wish to see in others. This whole idea of radical self-care. We've got to go on and be honest and tell the truth, right? Because we need to speak truth to power. I talk about the 4 T's: truth, trust, and transparency, leading to transformational breakthroughs. We're going to move forward together. We've got to be honest to build those relationships and get in the conversation. Be able to talk about the past experiences, talk about the hurt, the pain, being able to move pain to power if we appreciate the process, and then that becomes transformative. And so as we think about our democracy that we hold on to, when we even think about the young woman, the first young poet to speak in the nation, Amanda Gorman, she talked about the fact that the light is here. We just need to be brave enough to see it and then be brave enough to be it. I thought that was phenomenal. And so all that requires of us is that we step up, that we show up, and that we be the light for the nation. It's going to be hard work, by the way, right? We didn't get here overnight, and the process of healing and creating this whole union that is not just the perfect union, but as Amanda Gorman said, a purposeful union.
Right. So
that's going to require time.
Let me ask you this, because I'm listening to you very carefully. Amanda Gorman's words were so powerful. Her whole delivery was phenomenal. But you're talking about the central theme of healing and doing it together and moving together. What about the 70 million people who did not vote for President Biden, right? How do they factor into the healing and factor into the unification?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that, because we know that, yesterday, perhaps it wasn't a sigh of relief for 70 million people that did not vote that way. But I do believe that Joe Biden, who is a comforter in chief, if you will, is working across the aisles. That's what he's known for. He's actually been a transformative public official, meaning that he came into office with Barack Obama, the first Black man, and then now he's appointed the first Black woman as vice president. And so when we think about that, we can move forward figuring out how it is that we do create this conversation, to take the risk, even if you're in the workplace, take the risk to have the courageous conversation with your coworker, with your community member, with your neighbor, understanding that from a different lens, people may see it differently, but where can we find common ground so that we can move forward together?
And I've always said that having those courageous conversations, which could be uncomfortable, right? There can certainly be uncomfortable, and being uncomfortable is okay as long as the end result is something positive that comes out of it. So you have to have that tough, uncomfortable moment to maybe open.
Although I would say having that in the workplace may be a tough
tough
call there, because a lot of folks do want to hold on to their jobs and don't want to get into any kind of tiff and risk losing
compassion
it all.
is key.
Yeah.
Compassion is key. Engage and start with one and then move to the next.
All right. Well, thank you for your insight
Come
today.
back.
We appreciate it,
I like
Dr.
you.
Argie.
I like your energy.
I would love to come back. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you.
And be sure to pick up a copy of Dr. Argie Allen Wilson's book, Courageous Conversations. Connect. Thanks for sharing your wisdom with us. We do appreciate it.